And we are live.
Hey everybody, it's Matt Hill, aka Soren from My Little Pony, and Ed from Ed and Nutty, and you are watching Brony Debates.
Well, more accurately listening, thank God. Thank God I don't have a camera going here. Everybody would go blind. But yeah, we are live with another Brony Debates. And yeah, we got a very good roster tonight and a very interesting topic. We're talking about going mental over your health. Now for that, we've got Matt Hill. So how are you doing tonight, sir?
Hey, good to be here, man.
It's great to have you.
Absolutely.
It's great to have you. We've been looking forward to this conversation a lot. And this topic was suggested by our good friend Cruizer Brony. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Doing very good. Just got back from Universal Studios where they were doing a huge garage sale. Got like maybe $530 worth of stuff for like $100. So I'm happy right now.
Very good. You'll have to show me your haul later. And joining us for the first time, we've got Mr. Jasper Pie. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Doing fairly well. Just spent a whole day writing and now here for the health stuffs. Also,
Yep.
quick question.
Yes, what's the question?
If it's a garage sale at Universal Studios, it's not just the gift shop.
To be fair, it was in the employee parking garage.
Okay, that makes more sense.
That was a good one. I have to remember that.
It's like one of those knockoff sort of gift shops that you see when you go to flea markets, especially in foreign countries. Anyway, yeah, so we are doing some fundraising tonight. Now we're always doing fundraising because I'm trying to make this full time. But more importantly than me trying to get you guys to give me money, we're working for charity tonight. Mr. Hill, can you tell us what we're trying to do tonight?
Oh yeah, thank you so much for asking. I'm currently trying to do 50 cameos in the month of November in order to raise a stink load of money for the food bank. So that is my goal, and I've done what today since last week I've done five of them, and so I only have 45 to go. So thanks everybody who's bought the cameos. So let's keep them going. And
Uh,
if anybody on this show, obviously, would like one for their loved one, I would be very, very, very happy to do one. And whatever character you want, I will do my very bestest.
How many characters do you have?
Oh, about 150,000.
Nice.
No,
All right, so we got the whole
I got
range
about
there.
three. I think, yeah, no, I mean maybe officially, I have like eight.
Well, we
But
got
you're
10 people.
still
We got 10 people watching the show right now. So there should be at
Yes.
least 10 more cameos for you. Now, listen, everybody. You know what I'm going to say. Go read the description. I say it twice a week. Go read the description. Right at the top, you can't miss it, is Matt Hill's cameo page. You're going to go on there. We're going to get some kind of voice message for you or someone you love. And it's going to, what did you say the charity was?
It's gonna go to the food bank. So yes, because everybody needs to have a full belly. So that one's a very important one to me.
It's
and
a
because
pretty
Thanksgiving's
important.
coming up, people.
Yeah, it's pretty
Oh
important to
boy.
me too.
The mother.
I've been getting most of my groceries out of the food bank for a couple of years now, thanks to Cruizer, really. So yeah, we're definitely all about the food bank over here. It's one of the best ways to help people. So tonight's topic was Cruiser's idea. Cruiser, break us down on this topic before I read off the patron slide.
Yeah, basically, both me and Jasper have started our fitness journey. However, for a lot of new people, I think it could be a bit intimidating because, especially when you walk into a gym and you see all this equipment and go, where do I start? So I think it'd be good if we actually had two fitness experts with us here, Brawny and Matt, to kind of show not just Jasper and I, but also everyone else what to do just to get started, how to keep it going, when to not get discouraged, and any other advice we could that'd be useful.
Indeed, and that yeah, like he said, we had to bring on a couple of fitness experts. So we got two uh, Well, I don't know that I'd call myself an expert. Yeah, I've been doing it for 20 years, but I've had doctors who couldn't tell you one thing from another that have been doing it for 40 years. But we know Mr. Hill is an expert. And we got two guys who at the very least know what they're doing and two guys who are just getting started. So tonight should be a really interesting conversation, and this conversation has been supported by everybody on the Patreon and Subscribe Star. We're very grateful to all you guys, especially on the $10 and up tier, such as Heather Blossom, Shady Oak, Sid McConroy, Auto Knight, Emerald Spencer, Senko, DJ, Raincoon, Q Flash, Billy, Alden, Easy Mode Gamer, Kanto Acrylic, Mr. Sonic 31, Alicia Lynette, Sniper Nighter, Calbeck, Star Chaser, Venture Core, Willie Zinn, Ikanis Gorilla, and Dark Malcontent. A bunch of those guys make some pretty good content themselves. All the links in those descriptions. Mad Hill's Cameo. Support me. Check out everybody else's stuff, and what you get in return, it's good stuff. Now then, Cruiser, what made you want to talk about this topic?
Well, I had started my weight loss or fitness journey at the beginning of this year. I just kind of realized I'm getting older. I do want to hopefully have kids one day, and I want to be around for them. So, and not to mention, I am diabetic. So I got to make sure that I am getting healthy, I'm eating better. So if I'm ever lucky enough to ever have kids, I can be around for a bit longer, because despite the baby face, I'm actually 38 years old. So I just need to know, what do we do?
Alrighty then. So, let's go over to Jasper real quick. Jasper, you recently started taking your health kind of seriously too. Do you want to tell us what got you going and what you've been doing so far?
Well, it all started kind of early this year as well. I went to at my last doctor's appointment, where I found out on the website that I kind of classified as morbidly obese, and it scared me. So after a few weeks, I went to Brawny, and he kind of started giving me tips on how to properly go about this fitness journey. And then afterwards, I got this. Do you know of the MyFitnessPal app?
Yeah, I know about that, and you told me about it when you started using it.
I started using that to help like count calories, because for all the while I can't always work out 24/7. What I do every day is counts the calories for everything I eat.
Nice.
And so far it's been working well. Since I started, I lost almost 30 pounds.
We noticed. Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Like, I can see these guys have their webcams up, and I'm looking at Jasper, and he looks way better just from the last time I've seen him, and we're only getting started here. So let me go to Matt now. Mr. Hill, what got you interested in fitness, and what have you done about it thus far?
Yeah, well, it takes a lot of courage, fellas, to also step on the fitness train, sort of in your mid 20s and into your 30s and stuff. And so I commend you both, because it's well, as you maybe have already seen, right? The changes that happen within are unbelievable, right? So just keep going, guys. And like I say to myself all the time, it's like one step at a time, one day at a time, one workout at a time, one bite at a time, right? It's in many ways it allows you to just kind of make it a lot simpler, when sometimes you can feel completely overwhelmed with, like, what, like, I have this big goal. Right? So for me, it just started like way young. I was very, very fortunate. I think that light bulb went on early for me. That was just like, outside, must be there now. So really, the fitness journey for me started when I was just a wee one, and thank God we lived in a cul-de-sac. So I guess when I was about 2 or 3, my mom said, when she accidentally left the front door open in our house, I couldn't get too far, because everybody's houses were in this cul-de-sac, and so she just literally found me just like doing basically loops around our cul-de-sac, high-fiving all the other kids, and it was. Like, I'll never forget that. It was like it literally, that sort of sprint for freedom literally kind of defined what my life has always sort of been about. And so for me, it's, my relentless energy that I've always had to go, all right, if I'm going to be around for a long time, I need to take care of myself as well, right? And so like we've all had with our journeys, being alive, it's learning about food. It's learning about, say, different ways that your body, likes to train, right? And so um, I just feel very grateful that I'm in my 55th year, and it's literally taken me from the cul-de-sac around North America for 11,000 miles worth of running, my 9 Ironmans, and then a life of now being able to, I guess in some respects, talk from just, I guess, the standpoint. I don't really consider myself an expert per se, but I feel like I mean, I guess I've had a few experiences, so it's something that I feel very passionate to be able to share with others,
Yeah.
like that
Mhm.
with you guys, right? And so, like, so I don't have any sort of official certificates, but in many ways that, I don't know, it wasn't where I sort of chose to go, but I feel very honored that you guys would, obviously choose to let me be here to talk about, the journey and stuff, right? Because, we're all in
Yeah,
this human marathon together, right? So,
yeah, and I remember seeing your Run for One Planet video, and dear
excuse me.
God, I can't believe you pulled that off.
Well, I also had a very, very incredible partner named Stephanie Tate who had said, all right, I'm going to do one loop. I remember that. I was like, all right, we could do this forever. She's like, I'll do it once. And yeah,
for,
and I held her
for
to
those
it.
who
And she
don't,
held me.
yeah, for those who don't know, why don't you actually remind people what Run for One Planet was?
Yeah, well, Run for One Planet was an 11,000-mile run across Canada and around the perimeter of your beautiful country in the United States of America. And it was all to inspire environmental action. So we took the basically the theme of one step, small steps add up, and we literally took it to every single town that we went to. And so it took us a year and 3 days, so 369 days to run from Vancouver, Canada, all the way across the east coast of Canada, down the east coast of the States, down to Florida, where we turned in Jacksonville, and then went across the bottom between mile zero and Mexico. And then when we hit the Pacific, we made another right turn and made our way for home, and made it in, like I said, 369 days. And it absolutely changed my life, because getting to be able to speak to kids, especially, right, and all these parents that were same thing as you guys, going jonesing to be, I don't know, it just felt like it was that moment in time where I'd been working my entire life in order to be able to get up to that level, to be able to even take on something like that, right? And so yeah, we raised in the worst economy since the Depression, we still ended up raising about 100,000 US to start a Legacy for Kids fund, which now in its 12th year, we grant kids green dreams in elementary schools in Canada and in the United States. So yeah, I feel, like I said, like and in many ways, I'm actually glad we had no idea how it was going to turn out, because all we did was, okay, we said this is what we're going to do. We're going to run around North America. We're going to meet as many people as we can talk to, or who will meet us, and we'll do what we said we were going to do. And it was yeah, like I said, it just changed my life. And so
The
I
real
feel
Forrest Gump, ladies and gentlemen.
like and on days when literally I'd be thinking like, nobody knows we're even out here, because like, they're day after day after day. And especially when we were down in the south of the states, like in the down and around, like it was like the Georgia area.
Mhm.
I knew Forrest Gump was filmed down in that area, and like, it was amazing. Just when I would think like, nobody knows who we are, I'd literally hear this car going by, and I'd hear beep beep, run, Forrest, run! So I just go, woo! It was amazing.
The only way that could have possibly been better is if you actually had Tom Hanks running with you.
Oh, I know. My buddy, God bless him. He was my friend Ian Corlett, who's a incredible voice actor. Also was trying so hard to get us connected with sort of like those types when we were running through Los Angeles and different areas. And Unfortunately, they were all pretty busy, but that would have been pretty cool. Absolutely, of course,
Yep.
just told me to do.
So I got started in health, like I said, 20 years ago, and I got started in it for almost every reason you could get started in it. I was a morbidly obese, really freaking weird kid.
Mm,
I got picked on a lot, and I deserved every bit of it. And so it sort of got born out of a need for self defense. But then as I started getting into my teens and my friends started making, we'll just say, poor life decisions for the sake of brevity, I wanted to be there to make sure that I could help them either get out of whatever situation it was in, whether it was an interpersonal situation, an abusive relationship, or if they had really just gone down the wrong path with food or substances or whatever it may be, whatever injuries they acquired and whatever they were doing, I wanted to make sure that I could help them. So I really took it very seriously because I knew, same way, like you said, Matt, that I'm not going to be able to help these people unless I am strong myself. And one thing that, and I finally was able to sort of put words to my own philosophy just a couple of years ago. Not a couple of years. I started doing YouTube like in 2012, and I put words to it in like 2013. Is strength is a choice, because it's everybody's got a different level of what they can do, but that doesn't mean that somebody is weak. As long as in my eyes, as long as you are trying to tackle your vices or make better decisions or be there for somebody, that is what strength is. And it's making the decision to make that first step. And as you tackle that first challenge, regardless of if you're doing it and it just takes a minimal bit of effort, or if you're really diving in with everything you've got, when that hard thing becomes easy, repeat the process. Now take the next step, and from there you continue to build that strength, not just for yourself, but for those around you. Now that you and I have both spoken on our origins, so to speak, I'd like to hear what Jasper and Cruizer have to like. Is there anything you guys want to add or take away from anything that Matt and I have been saying?
Yeah. One thing that I've been noticing is that I have been doing a lot of weightlifting, and I can definitely feel definition growing within my body. Don't get me wrong. However, when I know you're supposed to feel a burn like the day after you work out, which that definitely happened when I was starting out, but I noticed that that burning sensation didn't last very long. Isn't it supposed to like last for a few days? And this, like in some instances, has ended in just a couple of hours.
mm,
So here's the thing. Well, first of all, everybody's going to react a little bit differently. Some people get, we'll call it DOMS for short, but it's an acronym for delayed onset muscle soreness. And basically, if you're working out to about 60% of your max effort, then you've got good form, you're not going to get as much of that soreness, and that just means that you're still recovering quickly and you've got a good nutritional balance. If you're maxing out, you're doing that kind of thing. But some people would say that that's not even good for you. And my whole thing when I'm teaching people is I've recognized that there's no one solution for everybody. Everybody's going to be a little bit different. So there's like 6 to 10 different types of people. Find out which one you are and work within those means. So some people need to max out and need to fail in order to really see progress. Then you got people that were, and they're world champions in whatever they compete in that do it that way. But you've also got people like, and the first name that comes to mind is Jay Cutler, one of the best bodybuilders of all time, and said he's never trained to failure, right? So it works both ways. Find out which one you are. It happens in martial arts too, where Americans, for example, we typically, like, if you've got a good martial arts school in America, odds are you're going to that dojo two to three times a week, and you are getting the crap beaten out of you for usually 45 minutes to an hour, and then you're sore the next day. The Russians, however, and some Asians typically, they don't do that. They have medium level workouts. They build up a sweat, and but they're never sore the next day. And then what happens is, like, okay, so you can do it the American way and get sore and need to take that time off and get stronger through that recovery. And that's another thing. You don't get stronger through the workout. You get stronger through the recovery. Or you do it the Russian way, where you do it a little bit every day, and you end up putting in more effort and more time and more practice over the same amount of period of time. So, Mr. Hill, what do you think about all of that? I know I was rambling there for a while.
Well, you touched on a good point. Everybody's so different, right? And I think the biggest thing is, I don't know, I try to share with people is, like you were saying, just find out where your jam is, find out what your body type is. If you're specifically, I guess in many ways, get whatever advice you can get from people that you also trust, or sources, right? That then can say, like, hey, you know what? Hey, this has worked for me. Some people intermittent fast. Some people can't intermittent fast because they're just too hungry when they wake up, right? And different in many ways, like even say a big dietary change, right? The body likes to sometimes be shocked into things, but then sometimes maybe that's not even the best thing to do either, right? So I think in many ways, go cautiously forward, but at the same time, in many ways, keep asking or reading, people in your circles, right? Or asking people in your circles, right? To,
as long as you're seeing progress, you're on the right track. Another note to make is that when you hit that plateau, it means you need to change. Your body is adapted to whatever you're doing. You might need to adjust your strategy. Like, there have been periods of time in my life where I needed to intermittent fast in order to see any progress, and other times where I needed to eat 5 times a day in order to maintain whatever it was I was doing. Jasper, I haven't heard from you in a little bit. What do you think of all this?
Kind of a bit feeds into a question I had.
Yeah.
Please.
Well, first off, you all know what it means to plateau, right?
Yeah.
Well, there are times during my weight loss journey where I kind of plateaued and it doesn't get serious, but I keep wondering, how do you keep yourself from being discouraged if you plateau once in a while?
Ooh, Matt, you want to take that one for me?
Well, it's so wild. I guess in many ways, try to keep inspiring yourself for the reason why you're doing it, right? And so in this respect, if it's weight loss or muscle gain or the both, right? Try to, I don't know, in many ways, just it's a tough enough journey, for all of us, especially when like that we've been training for something really hard and like that you notice a plateau. I don't know. I mean, I'm like scientifically, I can't really speak on that, but in terms of, let's say, like my own journey, I just try to like regroup and go, okay, all right, I'm sort of seeing the same. I don't know. For me, it was all about speed for so many years, like say, with my 10Ks or with marathons or whatever. But then I realized, okay, if I want to just keep doing this till it's the last thing I do, and hopefully I get 104 years on the planet, for me, it's kind of in a way slowing down and allowing then the plateau to kind of help me also heal and recharge and, and be remotivated, right? Sorry, I got a cough. Pardon me, guys. Sorry.
It's all good. If you don't mind, I could add on a little bit. There is, Jasper, most of the times when I'm working with people or even myself rather, and they hit a plateau, the plateau isn't so much that you have reached your potential, it's that you've leveled up. and now it is time to stack the weight a little bit heavier. You know what I'm saying?
I get it. So it's
Yeah.
like you've reached potential. Now it's time to rise above it.
Exactly.
speak.
Exactly. So that's where and before the stream I was talking about, I usually run into two types of people when it comes to exercise. The people that need to dive right into it and go full throttle, and there's pros and cons to that, and the type of people that need to use Kaizen. And I told these guys what that meant before, but that basically means you start off with something that is so easy, it's pretty much zero level effort, and then you very slowly add onto that. So, and you end up getting the same results either way. But usually when you've hit that plateau, it means it is time to start putting in more effort. And however you do that is up to you. It might also mean that your body has adapted to whatever it is that you're trying to do, and you need to change what you're doing, because muscle confusion is a real thing, and it will like in your case, like if you're trying to lose weight, and you're doing the same thing over and over again, okay, now your body is adapted to that kind of thing. Now it needs something different to go, oh shoot, what is this? We need to fire on all cylinders here. We need all the energy reserves we can possibly get in order to do this new confusing thing. And it doesn't even have to be additional effort. It's just the fact that it's new to your body and you're not physically used to it. It's going to cause you to burn more energy, which is going to cause you to lose more weight. Does that make sense?
Sorta, yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's a very complicated thing. Now, Jasper, you know my door is open. Come to me anytime, and I will work these things out with you.
Thankfully, your door is about 2 hours away, but I get what you made.
Well, we're talking now, aren't we?
Oh, yeah,
we were talking when you were 1,000 miles away, so you're good. So, Cruiser, is there anything you want to add to that?
Well, going back to what both of you guys were telling me about, how everyone's different, how things will level out, or how you experience gain. I gotta say that part is very confusing, because I do have a personal trainer at the gym that I go to, and I'll get advice from him that completely contradicts what my friend Brawny is telling me, and it gets confusing. It's like, wait, well, which one of you is right? Because the way how I at least see it, all this stuff is science, and you would think with science everybody would come to the same answer or the same conclusion, but people don't, and it just gets really confusing, because again, who's right here? I don't know.
Well, the short answer is, which method gets you the most progress? Matt, is there anything you'd like to add or take away from what these two gentlemen are saying?
Yeah, it's I don't know. I guess maybe that's the ultimate question for all of us, right? Because even I don't know myself, I feel like I had some pretty good results for a long time, in the last few years. I've even noticed my body's changed as well, right? So, that which way I would say weight train, I've had to mix up as well, because your body just gets very used to it, right? And then goes like, oh yeah, I got this, right? And like you're saying, that you don't feel the burn as much, right? But then at the same time, I don't know what I would probably say to everybody, because I still always say it to myself as well, is the most important thing is to keep moving, keep doing stuff that makes you happy, so that you feel motivated to also continue to keep moving and do what it is that you're doing, right? So, so if you're feeling confused by like that, say someone that you're training with, or someone else saying something, that's where I don't know. I wish I had the magic answer. There's not really one definitive answer, because it's not like one's right and one's completely wrong. Except, obviously, if somebody says, well, yeah, go there the first time, you've never lifted weights. All right, good. All right, try and lift this entire stack, right? And obviously, clearly, you'd be going like, that doesn't feel right. I think in many ways, start to ask more questions, as well as start to trust your own gut as well. Trust your own intuition.
I got
right?
a couple of stories I'd like to tell. Firstly, of my father, who in his day was a semi-professional competitive bodybuilder, and yeah, the guy was crazy, and I remember trying to work out with him when I was a teenager, and I just couldn't. Now I didn't get into lifting weights until I was in my mid 20s, but he would tell me stories. It's like, okay, there's one time I trained this guy, and at the end of the training session, he was covered in burst blood vessels. You could see like these red spots appearing all over his body because of how intense it
Okay.
was. And then my mother said, "Yeah, I tried to follow your father's routine with him a couple of times in the gym. And, obviously with the weights scaled down for my mother who had never lifted weights before, and she's like, oh yeah, and I almost died. So you got to be able to read yourself. You got to be able to read the people that you're working with. Another thing that when Mr. Hill was talking here, and it reminded me of a competition that I went to when I was 20 years old, and I met this gentleman who was extremely good in karate. Right, it was a karate
Hmm.
competition, and we're doing the katas, and he happened to be doing pretty much the same kata that I was doing. That's something you're going to run into with karate a lot, is that you're going to have katas that look similar. They have the same name, but they're slightly different between the different names of the styles. And he's like, oh yeah, I've been drilling nothing but this kata for this competition, full power, 100%, 2 hours a day for the last 3 months. And he looked tough. He got up to the judges, walked solid, did his competition, got off, looked solid the whole time. It was a perfect kata. He sat down and let his guard down per se, and you could just tell he was in excruciating pain. Meanwhile, I showed up with the same kata, and I'm going to be totally honest with you guys, not nearly the same level of work ethic. I BS'd my way through half of the reps I did. I didn't train for nearly as hard or as often as he did. I won. And you think about that as, oh, that's not fair. Well, ultimately, my training method was a little bit better because this particular form involves a lot of stomping of the feet. So what's going to happen if you're stomping as hard as you possibly can on a hardwood and or concrete floor for 2 hours a day for 2 months straight? What do we think's going to happen?
You'd definitely be fit for pro wrestling, that's for sure.
You're going to blow out your knees, which is exactly what happened to this guy. And I
Jeez.
didn't understand it at the time because I was only 20, but it, I realized it later. I was like, oh, that's why he wasn't able to perform as well as I was able to perform. I took the time to rest and feel my body and do what's actually going to make my body stronger, so that and with a stronger body, I will be able to perform this kata better. He went he went all out the whole time, and he burned himself out and probably caused himself some long damage that he felt for a long time afterwards. So it's very important to know yourself and feel what your body is capable of doing, and that will give you the empathy to help other people make the same assessments of themselves. Mr. Hill, is there anything you'd like to add on to that?
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, just keep, that's you've made the commitments to yourselves, and that's the biggest thing, right? It's like for all of us, it's all very, very personal, and so I think in many ways build that sort of inner strength and that trust in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it just keeps getting stronger and stronger, right? And so like even like that through a plateau, okay, be like, okay, all right, I'm not feeling as motivated, or maybe maybe the weight loss goals have feel like they've fallen off, or whatever, right? Whatever, a plateau can show up in so many different ways, but in many ways, if we allow ourselves to observe ourselves in a plateau, let's say it's this topic, it allows a new, almost maybe like even a renewed inspiration for ourselves.
Hmm.
right? Because like you mix it up, your body will go like, oh my God, we've been doing this, this, and this, and this. Okay, we're tired, so then you go for a hike instead, or you jump in the pool, or you just kind of find a way to move your body in a different way. Your body goes like, yes. Right? And before you know it, you're like that. It's like you in a way, you kind of re-inspire yourself by listening to what your body's asking you to also give it in its best way of being it you. Does
I've
that
got
make
a
sense?
yeah, and
Hmm.
I've got a question for you, Matt. But before I get into that question, I'd like to hear from Jasper a little bit. Jasper, since you started this year, uh, have you run into any sort of challenges, and have you overcome them? And if so, what were those challenges, and how did you overcome them?
Well, most of my challenges have been more mental, because you know how I mentioned the calorie counting thing?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I've been trying to train myself mentally to stay within in the limits because the app part of the reason I like the app so much is I'm a rule follower when it comes to staying between the lines and such.
Mm-hmm.
At the
And
same
yeah, go
at
ahead.
the
Go
same
ahead.
at the same time, most of my challenges involved either being able to stay in the limits or learning when to say no if someone offers a treat.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, and I struggled with that myself. I've got one of the world's worst sweet tooths. Now, when you first came to me, Jasper, I used the Kaizen method with you. So we're gonna start you super easy, and we're gonna go from there. And you remember I asked you a million questions, and I thought it was hilarious. I'm asking you all these questions, and this man goes, "Would you like to also know my shoe size, perhaps?" And and
You're like,
I
okay.
yeah, I thought that was funny. I'm like, hey, any good doctor is going to ask you a million questions. But what did we do? We started you off. I said, let's just take a note of what you're eating and what those nutrition facts are, and come back to me in a week, and we're gonna make the assessment from there. I give you any like real exercise tips outside of do something that you enjoy for a few minutes a day?
Nothing off the top of my head pops up.
Yeah. So, and that brings me really well uh, into my next question there. Oh, so that brings me into my next question for Matt. When you see people getting started out and they're really taking themselves seriously, and then they burn themselves out, how often have you encountered that thing in either other people or yourselves, and what's the best way that you get over that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've experienced both, obviously, for my own journey, and then when I've done the training that I have done with people when they've asked me to train them, it's unreal, right? Because we all sort of come to it at different points, but I guess in many ways, where I've probably learned the most is when I've gone through it myself, right? So if I've all of a sudden realized, going, oh, because like guys, I'm a turtle, right? So still steadfast, like do what I say I'm gonna do. Like it's my code. It's like it's how I've been hardwired my whole life, and it's just sort of who I am, right? And so, but I had to get over finally where I mean, like literally, I'd sometimes like trip because I'd be so freaking tired because I'd be training so hard or for so long, or that classic, no, come on, one more rep, get up that hill, blah 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 blah. But then I had to finally sometimes give myself a break, right? Take a breath, re-pause, take a few days off, reevaluate where I was at, right? And in many ways, because sometimes, especially when we're so gung ho on something and we see gains very quickly, right? Like you both sound like you're relatively new in your, say like that, your fitness journey, right? It also has this added component of also being through a weight loss journey as well, right? So there's a whole bunch of different systems that are going on inside, that are making huge changes. But then, like that, if you have your first plateau, or if you have your first injury, right, that could be devastating to your confidence, right? Same thing. I mean, I had a back operation when I was 18. I blew my disc out, thinking like, oh,
Ooh.
I'm done
Oh,
before I even started, And so, but because I was on that journey already, thank God I had incredible people in my life. My family doctor changed my life, and yeah, he just said he's like you this injury. He's a Asian man, so he's like Dr. Chu, and he's like, Matt, you have to listen now. Your body did very good thing for you. You had this injury for good reason. If you make sure that you take care of your back for the rest of your life, you don't lift heavy things for the rest of your life, and essentially and keep as fit as you possibly can for your whole life, right? So I had to have that adjustment period where I needed to heal from this thing, but it literally same thing. It turned out to be the greatest gift because it was a framework with which I could then now work in and train in, and I basically move my life forward in, if that makes sense,
Now,
right?
now, Matt, let me do a little bit of acting for you here. So, but where's the shame in that? I'm getting started so late, and all of these people are so far ahead of me, and I'll never, if I take a break now, I'll never compare to my idols and what I do. So this is shameful. What do you say to that kind of that mentality?
I, now I just don't live in that building, unfortunately, because we get shamed enough in life, right? In terms
Hmm.
of, like I feel so, um, my friends' kids are just inundated with all these images on, say, Facebook, or the different ways that everybody's advertised to, and you know, we've all had to sort of climb through our own moments of shame, right? I mean, I remember like I've been pretty fit my whole life, but then through these couple of these periods where I lost my sister at 21 through suicide, hardest thing I'd ever had to deal with at that point in my life. I probably gained 25, 30 pounds over that next year because my heart was broken, right? But until you go through it and you realize, oh, okay, you know what? I, I'm not going to shame myself anymore. And I'm not going to, and I would never do that to anyone else either. That's why the only coach I ever worked with that I actually paid, and he literally started the first week by shaming me as I showed up. I'm like, hey, guess what, bud? I'm pretty self motivated. Shaming me or going like, my grandma can lift 20,000 pounds more than you. I'm like, that doesn't really work for me.
Ah, so
you know what I mean?
so are you saying you choose to feel shame?
You know what? I'm a human being. I definitely have. I felt shame 100%. What I've had to learn is shaming myself or shaming someone else doesn't do anything. For me, it doesn't. And it doesn't, I don't think it's, especially if someone's coming to me to say, ask for, advice, or say like that, say for training. I'm not gonna berate them. I'm not gonna make them feel like a bag of shit.
So is there
It's
is
hard enough
there
to show up for yourself, right?
so so is there shame in taking a break or hitting a
Absolutely, there
plateau?
is.
Mm.
100%. You have to, right? I mean, the shame is when we don't take a break, right? Because our body or our psyche or our everything will just go like, need to have a break, right? So
Something I tell new students when they start sparring with me is you only lose
excuse me.
if you give up. Jasper, what's up, man?
Mm.
just kind of add to that. I encourage, whether in workouts in in other lines of work, I encourage at least one lazy day a week if you can handle,
100%.
if you can,
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, your
if you can
body
manage.
needs it. You will burn yourself out and make no progress if you don't get some sort of rest. Like I said earlier, you don't get stronger through the workout. You break yourself down in the workout and then you recover. And when you recover, your body builds itself back stronger, and you get strength in the recovery. Now then, Matt, real quick. Oh yeah,
Uh,
Justin, go
uh,
for it.
yeah, some of this I can probably say towards the very end, but to go on a little bit about feeling shame, because one thing that we haven't really quite touched on a little bit is mental health, which is just as important as physical. And
Absolutely.
in today's day and age, as Matt brought up, people are bombarded with images, and they always hear bad language. There's slurs are hurled at them. Would you say the more you start to work out, the less those words have an effect on you? Like if someone were to just for an example here, someone's just walking down the street, someone yells out the F word, the gay F word, we'll call it, to someone.
Oh,
But
yeah.
would you say that working out would actually help, just make you care less about that stuff?
That's a good question. I think anything we can do that our heart is saying, I would like to try this because this is where I want to go with my life. In this respect, it's a health and fitness routine. Anything is going to build the self confidence within us,
Hmm.
Something
right?
I'd like. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Matt.
No, 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 no. It's I think in many ways that's why I don't know. I think if anything I've learned is we just need to be if we're going to be kind to others, right, which is obviously our goal, be kind to yourself as much, because I think in many ways, myself included, have gone through moments where I've just been so shitty to myself. Pardon my, I don't mean to swear, but where I just really treated myself with a lot of disrespect and said horrible things about myself or my efforts or my results or whatever, right? That then I would never say that to like my best friend, right?
Mm.
And so I think in many ways that's the journey, and especially right now as we're finally talking about mental health as an actual thing that really is a big deal. That's where I think we're on the precipice, so that finally now people can actually say like, hey, you know what? I feel really crappy, and not feel bad about themselves for even then admitting that, right? I think
Yeah,
there's right there's I don't know. I think I'm
yeah, because for me, when I was like maybe like 34 or 35, I kind of realized that at this age, it's kind of stupid to get upset if someone like were to say some sort of a for lack of a better term, a fat slur at me. But I will say that going on more with especially with weightlifting, I could just care less at this point. Maybe it's because I'm getting older, but I think quite possibly working out probably has something to do with it.
So here's some.
Because
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead,
Go
Ronnie.
ahead, dude. I thought you were done.
Yeah, I pretty much am. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so something I'd like to quickly add on to this here is that one meme I see going around the sort of fitness circles that I'm in is like is this caveman looking guy, and he just says lift heavy stone, make sad voice quiet, right? So that goes into our mental health here is that I wouldn't just say that like mental health is just as important as physical health. I don't even separate those concepts anymore. Your mind, your body, and your spirit are all one. And there are three separate entities in one. Whatever
Hmm.
affects one will domino and snowball into the other two. And so when one improves, the other two improves. And when there's a weakness in one, if you don't rectify it, it will snowball into the other two as well. And you create these positive or negative feedback loops for yourself. Lifting weights, literally, and not just lifting weights, any kind of exercise that you enjoy, literally releases endorphins that improve your mental health. God, this is why I couldn't go to medical school. I always get these backwards. Is it serotonin or dopamine? That's the delayed. You look forward to the result, and then when the result comes, then it feels good, as opposed to I think it's dopamine is the one where that's the instant gratification hormone, and the more you saturate your brain with these things, um, it sort of works on your mental health, and then when your mental health is in a better position, it's easier to get yourself out of bed and go do the exercises, which then branches off into other things. Jasper, did you want to add something real quick?
For the longest time, I thought serotonin and dopamine were the same thing, just different names.
No, not. Why would they have different names if they were the same thing?
And this is why I don't go to medical school.
It's one of the reasons. Listen, I get them backwards all the time, which is why I didn't go. I'm not going to waste all that money to fail that test. I can get close enough for what I need to do just by reading. I do read the medical textbooks and I read all the studies. I can never pass a test.
You just say like Ed, you just say like I'm a serotonin dopamine.
No, so I got it right for the first time in my life. I'm seeing in the comments here, Harriman says dopamine is the happy serotonin and is
that's
the
good.
long-term.
Like, yes, you got it right.
Real quick before we get into audience participation here, we're just a couple of minutes over time. Matt, you're looking in pretty good shape here. Do you have any quick nutrition tips you can give us?
Ooh.
Oh, and Jasper lit right up on this one. He's got to know about that.
In case I need to take notes.
Well, for me, just like a balanced for me is eat as many fruits and vegetables as I can possibly consume. I love eating vegetables and proteins. I try to keep it at I don't know. I mean, I don't really have a ratio anymore. I sort of I don't know. I just go by whatever I've been training on. Chicken and turkey and fish, and I love salmon. And I probably have, I don't know, my bowl is ready for dinner. My bowl is probably like 3/4 like greens and then about 10% like protein, if that makes sense.
I personally do half and half. Jasper, are you going to say something?
Not really. I was just saying, I get that.
Well, speaking of nutrition, let me ask this because I do know you're supposed to eat proteins right after you do like weightlifting, and at one point my gym did have a smoothie bar in there that all had like every drink had the same level of protein. Now, and Brian, I remember you even fixed me a protein shake at one point, but my biggest concern though is I'm sure these things are effective, but I'm still diabetic here. So I'm worried about the fruit that goes in there, because it's natural sugar. It's gonna spike them up, and lo and behold, it does. So with that being said, what should I do in this instance?
Skip the fruit. If it doesn't work for you, skip it. Most people just put the fruit in there for taste.
Yeah. Well, you've got a special consideration, right? That you got a stick handle around all the time, right? So I think in many ways, have you been dealing with diabetes like your whole life, or has it just been?
I became insulin dependent at 21.
Ooh, okay. So it's that
pumps right here.
Yeah, there you go, man. But so you're very, very opt on checking those blood sugar levels, right? So because sugar is sugar is sugar. No matter how much it's marketed in all these different ways, it still makes our body go like, woohoo, spike, and then crash, right? So
yeah, and the one thing that I was told, and I'm pretty sure everyone out there has heard this, is how carbs are the enemy. They're not kidding when they say that. As much as I love pretzels, if you don't work off those carbs, they will convert to sugar. And with in diabetics, if I were to just say eat some grapes, they'll go up, but they'll eventually come back down. But with carbs, they will go up and stay up if you don't work them off. So that, and just knowing like what's the right amount to eat before you go into a workout, because I do know they help with energy, but portions, as they say. I don't know what's the proper portion in this case.
And it varies. One meme that I like to show to people that sort of breaks it down as simply as possible is, understanding calories. And it'll say, imagine you get 500 calories of candy of some kind. That's 2 Oreos. That's like 2 to 3 Oreos right there, right? Is that going to fill you up? Probably not. 500 calories of fruits. Okay, yeah, you've got you've had a halfway decent meal there. 500 calories of meat is a giant slab of steak, right? You're going to be feeling good. And you cannot fit 500 calories of vegetables in your stomach unless you really overload them with ranch dressing, which I will give you is delicious, but gosh darn it, don't do that. And then there's 500 calories of communism, which is just an empty stomach. So there's your best diet plan right there. And a little bit of political humor here. So that's one I like showing people here. Now then, let's get into audience participation. I've saved a bunch of questions from the audience here, but first, Mr. Hill, please remind us what we are fundraising for tonight and how we're doing it.
Oh, I'm doing some 50 cameos is my goal this month to raise a ton of money for the food bank. So if you feel like you've got a loved one that you'd love a cameo from Ed or somebody from Soren or any of the other cartoons that or movies that I feel very fortunate to have been a part of. Please hit me up. I'd be honored to give you a cameo.
Right. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get everybody in the chat right now, and we got 15 people watching. Decent numbers. It could be better. Everybody's gonna go get a cameo right about now. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to upload that to Twitter and tag me in it. And we're going to get some kind of, me and Jasper and Cruizer are going to tag the three of us in it on Twitter. And we're going to get some kind of hashtag going. And we're going to see if we can, we're going to get trending. We're going to get trending. And
Let's
we're going to get
this.
these. Yeah.
And remember, people, Thanksgiving is coming up. So everyone could use the additional help.
And I believe my cameo search thing is I am Ed.
I've got it linked in the description.
Awesome.
It's right there at the top. It's the easiest thing to find. Now
Thank you, SparKalEEs.
Haha. So, Jasper, off top of your head, come up with a hashtag for us.
Okay. How about just hashtag buttered toast?
Oh, that's a good one. I like that.
Buttered toast for charity. Hashtag buttered toast for charity.
Hashtag Ed Givings.
That's good.
We're gonna workshop it, but we got the makings here. Jasper, did you want to say something real quick?
I was gonna say I almost want to see one of those cameos be by the super duper sumo guys.
Oh, I would love to do one of those, man. Pig Boom was like, yes. Gladly, absolutely, put one of those together.
Nice. Now then, here's what I found here. Harriman early on said, last big note is sleep well. Getting enough sleep is very important to losing weight and not having the I'm hungry, but that's because of a lack of sleep munchies. Oh, I was dealing with that yesterday because, long story short, I wasn't able to sleep Thursday going into Friday. And I ended up needing to take the day off of work because I was not functional. I was not safe to drive. And in order to get anything done yesterday, I just had to keep eating. And I felt horrible. It sucked. That was not a good day. So yeah, sleep is the best thing you can do to recover. The oldest people that have ever lived that we have on record has all said, take lots of naps, sleep as much as you can, and don't live a sedentary lifestyle. Does anybody want to add anything to that before we move on?
Kinda. It doesn't really have to do with health, but at least sleeping in general. Because I've had nights where I'll be lying in bed, my eyes are closed, I'm tired, but I never seem to fall completely asleep. Like my brain is still like it's not, hardwired. It's not going at 100 miles an hour, but it just can't seem to shut off.
Oh yeah, that's been a recurring thing over here also.
What do you guys recommend for that?
Personally, if you go a couple of days of letting yourself be exhausted, and you've got to be able to afford those couple of days. So if you don't have work for a couple of days and you can just let yourself be exhausted to reset your sleep schedule and work out and just stay physically active as much as possible. That'll help your be outside. The sunlight helps reset your circadian rhythm and makes your brain produce melatonin, which helps you sleep. Try not to be dependent on melatonin supplements. So be outside, physically active, wake up at a reasonable time, like 8 o'clock, something like that, after you've had 8 hours of sleep. And then, by the time you get to 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, you will be so exhausted that your body will just shut off and you'll be fine. Matt, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
Not a ton, except for, just soldier on, soldiers, because, yeah, I mean, I've, had a few times in my life where sleep was definitely at a detriment, or is that what or sleep loss?
Yeah.
It just depended on what I was going through. When we were obviously getting ready for One for One Planet, it was probably the time I've slept the least in my life, because we were so busy. But then running the marathon every day, we still have so much work to do at night. And I'm like classic, doesn't matter what time I go to bed, I still wake up at 4 a.m. pretty much across the board. So I had a few months there where I was like, oh boy, and so like it was like my eyes were just like sleep shut, open. So. It's not a fun place to be in, but like you're saying, it's you find these different ways that like that you can get that reset, because when your body goes like, oh, now it's time to sleep, you get the nice big, crash hard night, and then then you're set again. It's nice.
A story that I can tell real quick that I think is funny is I've had occasional bouts with insomnia, and for the most part, it's just. Occasionally I go a few days where I don't sleep regularly, or I just can't sleep enough. But for the most part, it is sort of depression triggered. But the first time I dealt with it and I had no idea what was going on or what to do about it, I think I went 6 days without sleeping at all.
Ooh.
I don't remember days 3 through 6 at all. But I happened to be working on a film set at the time. I was a grip. A pretty low level position there, and somebody told me a story at the wrap party after production was done. They're like, "Hey, are you feeling better?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've we're 8 days later. I finally had some sleep. Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit better." They're like, do you realize how we thought you were on drugs? Do you realize how crazy you were being?" They tell me that when it came time for lunch break, we needed to stagger the departments, go for lunch break, because you don't want to leave any of this expensive equipment unattended, right? So I had to watch the jib, and they go, "Okay, Brawny, stay here, watch the jib." And I go, "Yeah, I better stay here and watch that jib. That flamingo over there has been giving me the stink eye this whole time." Because apparently there was some ominous flamingo out there just watching me. There was no flamingo. There was no flamingo. No flamingo was out there, much less a flamingo that was going to steal our camera gear. So that's get sleep and don't grow up like me. Let's see here. Nathan Duazo says, so you're talking about mental health. Does that mean keeping your mind healthy? Now that Matt, I went into a long tirade about how mental, physical, and spiritual health are not just equally important, but actually the same thing. Is there anything you would like to add on to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all on our own personal journey here, right? Being, human beings of this world. I think, just find that spirit that's inside you, and try to live every day that is going to make you feel proud of what you're up to here on planet Earth. And if in doubt, just be kind to others as well, and you find to be kind to yourself as well. And and definitely, it's body, mind, spirit here. They're all connected, 100%. And I think in many ways, that's what I feel really honored that that we would all be able to have this conversation, right? Because a bunch of years ago, men wouldn't talk about mental health, or like beyond going like, hey, I'm like blah 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 or whatever. But so it's I think its time has come, right? Because it really is all connected with everything, right?
Something I'd like to add to that is that we are starting to lose the stigma of having some kind of mental issue that we have to work through. However, now we're going. I call it the born again syndrome. You ever met a born again Christian, and now it's the only thing that they ever talk about. And so now we're going that way where now everybody is super in tune with whatever mental thing that they've got that they may or may not even have, and they sort of use it. I don't want to say for clout, but I also don't have a better term for it. So I'm really looking forward to when society hopefully swings back to a happy medium and we can talk about these things with the purpose of addressing and solving the problem and bettering ourselves, rather than making it everybody else's problem. Let me see here. Paladin Pony T says,
For a second, I thought you said swing back to a happy meal.
what the frick? Oh, Paladin Pony T says Brawny was high without drugs. And that's funny you should say that. Being sleep deprived and drinking a ton of alcohol literally has the same effect on your brain. Paladin Pony T says, do you guys think shows and cartoons do a good job about teaching health stuff, or do they fall short? Matt, I'd like to turn that question to you.
I mean, I think like everything, man, they're coming around because, the conversation for society is coming around, right? And so kids are watching that. And, so now I think in many ways, producers and creatives that have been putting these shows together, they've been getting a clear message, right? It's like, that's what I love, almost like the instant feedback loop now. You don't have to wait like a whole season, before fans go like, hey, this is awesome, or boo, sucks, make it better, right? I think in many ways, I've always been a firm believer in the power of the human spirit as well as our brains, and so we're becoming more aligned with all three of those things, which I think is that's what gets me excited.
So something I'd like to add to that is, I don't see very much in the way of like physical health, especially like if you're watching anime. They tend to, those Japanese cartoons tend to ramp everything they do physically up to 1,000,000. So they'll start with a good concept like Demon Slayer, for example, and their whole martial arts is based on breathing. Breathing is literally the most important thing. But you're not going to get superpowers from breathing properly. So anime gives people unrealistic expectations, and other cartoons don't really have addressed the physical side at all. But Friendship is Magic does give really good life lessons and interpersonal problem solving lessons, and if you follow those, and if you watch Brawny Buck's series Moral of the Story, which analyzes the friendship lessons of each episode, then you will definitely improve your spiritual health through friendship, which will then affect your mental, which will then affect your spiritual. I saw Cruizer had something he wanted to add.
Yeah, the one thing, though, I think that would help if cartoons actually went back to doing again is those PSAs they would put at the very end of the shows.
Oh my God, those were so corny, though. And most of the time they didn't even say anything good, but go ahead.
But here's the thing, though. I think when people are watch the cartoon, I think it's quite possible that some people don't realize, hey, no, we're actually being serious here. They just kind of see it as part of the story and not a life lesson. But I think if you actually put a PSA at the end saying, no, this is actually serious, you need to do this, I think that would actually help drive the point home a bit more. That, and also parents need to, push their kids along too, because the power of TV and cartoons and media can only do so much. At the very end of the day, it's you, a parent, that has to get your child out there and start working out.
Anyone else suddenly have flashbacks of the Captain Planet drug episode?
I didn't see that one. I didn't see that one, so tell us about it.
Well, essentially, it's typical Captain Planet stuff, and then it's basically a drug PSA, and one of the kids dies.
No.
One of the Planeteers?
I don't know if it was a Planeteer. It was someone related to one of the Planeteers.
That's kind of gruesome, but okay. There's also not a question, but a statement that I saw in the chat, Brony, that I'd like to bring up.
Yeah, go for it real quick.
Yeah, this came from Harriman. Says the body mass index is BS, as I could work grocery stocking for 8 hours and walk 3 miles both ways to and from work, but I was still considered obese because I had a gut. Now, I'm pretty sure all of us here are familiar with the body mass index. How accurate would you say that thing is?
I personally wouldn't say it's very accurate, because all it factors in is your height, your weight, and your age. And there's a lot more that should go into those factors. So if you start breaking out things like medical instruments and calipers that can actually measure what your actual body fat percentage is, then you get a more accurate reading. But just the basic equation of height, weight, age is extremely flawed. Okay, I can aside from Mr. Hill here, I know I can run you guys into the ground without breaking a sweat. It calls me morbidly obese, and I'm not. I don't have a six pack. I'm gonna admit that, but I'm still pretty well built, decently at the very least, right? So I'm not morbidly obese. I'm a little overweight. I'm not morbidly obese. Matt, what do you think?
Uh, my brain just completely. Sorry.
So your brain just went Ed on us.
We'll
That's like my full on, like that's my honest truth. I'm like, I don't BS through this question. I have no idea. Sorry.
That's all right, and we're gonna try to wrap this up quick for you.
Yeah,
I know we got to get you going. I'm sorry we've gone over time.
Thanks, fellas.
We got one question
Feel
here
bad.
from Raptor Rex. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name, but this one needs some personal training here. What is an Ed workout routine? Can you give us a workout routine, an Ed themed workout routine, Mr. Hill?
Oh, absolutely. Well, in the spirit of the Christmas coming up after the Thanksgiving month, you do some push-ups with some chickens, and then you run with a bowl of gravy, and then you try to decorate the house in time for Santa Claus before he comes, and then you have your workout pulling all the lights through the wall because you can't get the window open, but you're so excited because the Christmas is coming, so that then you sit down and you do some gravy cakes and
No, not the gravy.
more butter toast, and then you
No,
have,
not the butter toast.
some jawbreakers for your dessert.
That's all sugar, Ed.
Sorry.
I mean, I was sweating. Listen, I was
but it's
sweating
all
just listening
sugar-free.
to the workout itself, but you flopped on the diet.
Hey, he's such a good boy. Come on.
And that is what Christmas is all about.
Exactly. It's my favorite time of the year. Absolutely.
Gojillion says, question for everyone. Any particular thoughts on V-Shred's methods for losing weight? Every time I've watched that guy, I've needed to repress the memory. His form is horrible. He has no idea what he talks about. His scripts are poorly written. Has anybody else had the misfortune of watching V-Shred?
Don't think I've seen him.
All right, save the brain cells. Moving on. Let me see, another one from Raptor of Rex. How about a workout routine for autistic folks like me? Listen, 3/4 of us in this call are autistic. Your body works the same way. And so find something you like, because that is the superpower that comes with autism, is that you can hyper focus on something that you like doing and do it 8 hours a day without even thinking about it. Cruiser, what's up?
Just to add on to that, one thing I will tell you is that as someone who has been going to the gym, you can just ask anybody who's there. Believe it or not, the whole stereotype of the gym rat or the gym mentality is false. Okay, everyone in there wants to see you get healthier, be it the trainers to just everyone else who's working out. So if you got a question, don't hesitate to ask any of these people. That's been my experience, and I'm pretty sure that'll be the experience you'll have.
And the last question I have. Oh, I'm sorry, Jasper.
I think, yeah, go ahead, Jasper.
It's quickening. And if your autistic brain is like me, the MyFitness app really helps because your mentality will want to stay within the lines.
Indeed, indeed. Matt, do you have any experience with that by chance?
Yeah, no, I mean, like what gentleman said the same thing, right? It's just like, just find what like just makes you happy. And, I think in many ways, something that was so taboo for so long, right? With people like that saying, I can't go to the gym because this reason or that reason, everybody's mean, or people will be laughing at me as I walk through the door. Well, first of all, if anybody did that, go to a different gym, because most of them are like you said, right? Justin is it's like people want to see people succeed. People want to help people, like that. It's just like, especially when someone's reaching out of their comfort zone and then comes in and wants to continue to do what it is that they've come here to do. Just build your posse of people to just go like, I'm here for you. What do you need? What do you need? Right? It's like people will be there for you in spades.
They'll even give you like that boost too. Like they'll check in on you, see how you're doing.
Oh,
And
yeah,
the gym. Yeah, like I said, the whole idea that we've built in our heads about what the gym is like is completely false. It is wrong. They want to see you get better.
Now then, last one that I'm just going to tackle real quick. Half Random and Crazy Production says, which protein shake would you suggest? Meat, whey, or non-dairy? Whey for a protein shake. Take it as a supplement if you're trying to build muscle. There's a lot more to it than that. Reach out to me after the stream, and I will point you in the right direction. I'll ask you all the necessary questions. And with that, we're gonna wrap up here. So, Mr. Hill, this is we're at the end, and I have one last question for you. Can you give us some closing thoughts and tell us one thing you learned? Because that is the most important thing on Brony Debates, is learning.
On Brony Debates, I learned, the first thing that also too is that everyone's listening, they're not watching, so that's a learning I did. No, but in all fairness, if one thing I'm learning more and more and more is we really are all together in this human wheel of being, humans in motion, right? It's like, that's what I love, is we all have our gifts to share. We all have our lights to share. We all have everything that we came in here to share with each other and with ourselves, right? So, I guess in that respect, it's like, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, be kind to this planet, and the feedback loop just continues to keep going, right? So, so thank you guys. It's an honor to be here and, shed some light on all these different topics and stuff that we're talking about. So,
thank you so much for coming on. Jasper, closing thoughts and one thing you learned.
One thing I learned, that Forrest Gump is possible, as Mr. Hill has demonstrated.
Absolutely. Oh, beautiful.
And overall, I think the biggest takeaway I got from this is don't be afraid to push yourself to the limit, but also know your limits.
Yep. Cruiser, closing thoughts and one thing you learned.
For starters, Matt, I'm glad that you were able to do this with us. We've been wanting this with you for a very long time. And fist bump to the screen there. There we go. Bro hoof. But as far as what I learned, you really have to learn to listen to your body. I keep hearing that in like various different videos, ranging from not just fitness, but other topics as well. And you need to learn how to hone in on that. Like if this one muscle feels weird, why? Ask a trainer, find out. If something is feeling not so well, ask a trainer, find out why. So try to listen to your body. If you don't know what it means, do not hesitate to ask.
All right. So we're going to wrap it up there. Matt, thanks again so much for coming on. Did you have fun tonight?
Way fun. Thanks, guys.
All right. And thanks for sticking out. Thanks for sticking out into the overtime for us. And thanks to everybody who watched the show. I expect to see everybody going and getting on that Cameo for Matt Hill so we can help some people eat a good Thanksgiving dinner this year. So check those links in the description.
Brawny, you forgot to read out the Patreon names.
I have not forgotten to that. I'm just haven't gotten to it yet, okay? There's a big freaking difference, all right? I might, okay? Just because I'm stupid doesn't mean I'm an idiot. What? Who said that? Get out of here. Get out of my head.
I mean,
thanks
I won't
thanks
go
everybody
say
who
it out
supports
loud.
monetarily. We're about a third of the way to my goal of making this
Thanks, fellas.
full time. So if you want to get on the show, we'd love to have you. Patreon, subscribe, star, whatever you want in the description. Thanks everybody, especially the $10 and up tier. Heather, Shady, Sid, Auto Knight, Emerald, Senko, DJ, Raccoon, Q Flash, Billy, Alden, Easy Mode, Kanto, Mr. Sonic, Alicia Lynette, Sniper Nighter, Calbeck, Star Chaser, Venture Core, Will Eisen, Canis Gorilla, and Dark Malcontent, executive producer, Titan Art Studios. We will see you all in a few minutes. I'm going on Heather Blossom's channel. She's going to hang out and crochet. Until then, stay safe. God bless you. Have a wonderful night, everybody. Say good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody. Bye-bye. See you later,
Live
guys.
long and propane.
And before you end the call, Matt, there's just one thing I want to ask, just to make sure we're